Your Excellency, Madam Obi, our keynote speaker, the Vice President of World Bank for Africa, Excellencies, Ambassadors, and Member of the Diplomatic Corps, Diaspora family, friends of Africa, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me, first of all, to sincerely thank you all for having grace this evening with your presence. I wish you a warm welcome. I would also like to present the chairperson of AU's message, which he delivered today to commemorate this important day. As is the custom every year, today, the 25th of May 2011, we are celebrating Africa Day. This anniversary commemorates the birth of the Organization of African Unity on May 25, 1963. Indeed, by this solemn act, our founding fathers, keen to safeguard and consolidate the independence of our countries, hitherto under the yoke of colonization, and in a bid to strengthen solidarity across Africa and see through the task of the total liberation of Africa, did not only lay the foundation of our unity through a common African identity, but also triggered the dynamics of actions and effort toward integration and sustainable development that our continent is today pursuing. Today, about 62% of the overall population of Africa is below 35 years old, and more than 20% are between 15 and 24 years age bracket. By 2020, more than 70% of Africa's youth will be at least 20 years old. This means that out of every 4 persons that we come across in the street of Cairo, Nairobi, Brazzaville, Lagos, Malabo, or Johannesburg, 3 are less than 20 years old. With an average of 5.2 children per woman, Africa registered the highest number of births in the world, the yearly birth rate average being 2.2%. Therefore, no surprise that about 10 million African youth knock at the door of the labor market every year. Many of these youth are ill prepared for the job market owing to the persisting gaps in our education systems. The result is that 71% of African youth live on less than $2 a day. The Arab Spring marked the groundswell that swept across Tunisia and Egypt. Right here on our continent, has confirmed the imperious need to address the legitimate concerns and worries of the youth, who are the largest component of our society. They are becoming increasingly poor, discontented, and more radicalized. In an era of unbridled globalization, characterized among other things by new ways of life like the celebrity culture, the loss of the value of hard work in favor of the get-rich-quick attitude, and idleness, many youth in developing countries, not only in Africa, mirror their future in what they often consider as the El Dorado, often Europe and the United States of America. They will stop at nothing to undertake the journey to this illusory promised land, even at the peril of their lives, having the feeling that the only prospect at home are disappointments, discouragement, even a feeling of injustice coupled with revolt. Disappointment for those who, on completing their education, struggle to find a job matching their qualification. Discouragement for those without certificate doomed to precarious jobs. Lastly, the feeling of injustice and revolt for those who are deprived of any hope and feel forgotten, ignored, or rejected by society. By deciding to focus on the theme, because this year AU theme is accelerating youth empowerment for sustainable development, and this theme goes hand in hand with the theme of our diplomatic corps here in the US, talking about investment in Africa, because investment is one of the solutions to create youth employment. And recalling that the 8th Labour and Social Affairs Commission, which held in Yaoundé in April 2011, dwelt on the theme promoting youth employment for social cohesion and inclusive growth. The African Union attests the importance it attaches to the primordial role and contribution of the youth in the development process. It also confirmed the will of African leaders to continue their effort for the creation of an enabling environment to better address the needs of the youth. For some years now, this has been articulated by numerous activities undertaken across the continent at the center of the development agenda for the youth, who are indispensable stakeholders in effort to support Africa's development. The adoption in 2006 of the African Youth Charter and its entry into force in 2009 marked the starting point of a new and strong push. This charter seeks to promote the participation of youth and their organization to a wide range of intergenerational dialogue on the development of policies and initiatives designed to ensure that the view and aspiration of young people in Africa are considered. As part of this drive, the celebration of the African Youth Day in 2008, the institutionalization of November 1st as African Youth Day to be commemorated all across Africa, and the declaration of 2009-2018 as the Decade for Youth Development have given a new impetus to the Pan-African Youth Union, whose headquarters is in Khartoum, Sudan. Heading to the call of heads of state and government, the African Union Commission has embarked on actions, programs, and projects aimed at enhancing the capacity of young people and improving their participation in social, political, and economic activities on the continent. I will illustrate this with a few examples, namely, 1, the creation of the African Youth Volunteer Corps. In this respect, I'm happy to recall that a second training session for 100 young volunteers is scheduled for 13 June in the Republic of Equatorial Guinea in Malabo. The promotion of technical and vocational training, which demonstrates the importance of the latter in our countries and region. And the third, establishment of a database for African youth organization. The United Nations declared August 2010 to August 2011 as the International Year of the Youth. I would like to take this opportunity to reiterate that United Africa will be strong and respected. Hence, the common position for the development of the African youth presented by all the African youth ministers at the World Youth Conference in Mexico in July 2010 was adopted by the UN General Assembly in September 2010 and is henceforth part of the 2010 agenda for the world youth. Africa is therefore resolved to fight and win the battle to enhance its youth competitiveness in the international arena. This will lead to the establishment of the Pan-African University with its 5 regional institutes and affiliated national centers that will meet world standard in quality training and research, science and technology, as well as engineering and mathematics. 3 of these institutes shall open in the last quarter of 2011. These are the Institute of Earth and Life Sciences in Ibadan, Nigeria, the Institute of Governance, Social Sciences and Humanities in Yaoundé, Cameroon, and the third, the Institute of Basic Sciences, Technology and Innovation in Nairobi, Kenya. The Pan-African University is designed to attract and keep on the continent talented and motivated young people by providing an enabling environment for their blossoming in research and studies. It will also help to rekindle the sense of belonging to Africa, considering the fundamental and proven role of training institutions, schools, and universities in the building of a common African identity. With regard to science, the foundation stone of the African Observatory of Science, Technology, and Innovation shall be laid in Malabo during the next African Heads of State and Government Summit in July this year. Equatorial Guinea has offered to host this institution and to provide the start-up funds. This observatory shall help to develop the scientific potential of our young researchers. The decision to set up this institution was taken at the January 2007 Summit of Heads of State and Government in Addis Ababa. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that the youth, with their energy, innovative capacity, as well as their aspiration and an asset that no state or society can afford to ignore. They are an engine and a critical resource for sustainable development, both at national and continental level. With their inherent values, the youth are also a catalyst for change and transformation of the society. The African Union believes strongly that the future of Africa hinges on young people, dynamism, enthusiasm, energy, and courage. They are indeed the leaders and decision makers of tomorrow. The foundation of Africa rests on their ideas and actions. They are the future, the driving force that will contribute to the emergence of a continent where life is pleasant an Africa that can meet its need and that is free from fear. Like our founding fathers, who in their prime fought for ideals such as independence and national sovereignty. The youth are therefore challenged to rekindle this passion for our motherland and demonstrate that their confidence for Africa and its future. Africa is counting on the youth. I wish you a happy Africa Day, and long live Africa, and long live the youth of Africa. And thank you.